I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Welcome everybody to my experience with the phenomena. We are back with the brand new episode, and we have experiencers today. Science Bob and Lala Bright is going to be an awesome show as we get to talking about a part of the phenomena I don't think we've touched yet, which is implants, alien implants. It's a thing. And believe me, it's a thing. And we're going to be diving into it and talking about some experiences that they may have had with that. So it's going to be an awesome show. Definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're here live or you're here later on replay, Team Replay. We love Team Replay, and appreciate you guys just indulging in the content. And maybe it's something you can align with. Maybe it's something that you've had an experience with yourself. Maybe this show is the one that gets you to come out and talk about your experience. That's what this is all about. It's about hearing from you, the experiencer. And, we're going to do some more of that today. As we go ahead and get ready to jump into the show, what I'm going to do is bring up some of our promo work as we do every single show here. My experience with phenomena. We do have a call-in line for this show, for every show that we do here, just for the Social Dig in general. And we also have a booking email address. So if you have an experience with the phenomena that you would like to come and talk about, please go ahead and take down this email address, which is booksocialshow@gmail.com, or you can go ahead and call our call-in message line, which is 856-843-3444. That's 856 the dig. In case you're not in the United States, if you're outside, dial 001 first, then 856-843-3444. or 856 the dig. Like I said, you can call, leave an experience. You can call and just say hi, because saying hi is a nice thing to do and it's appreciated. So definitely program that number into your phone and call when you're ready. Call when you're ready. But when you are, we'll go ahead and get you set up, get you right here on the show to talk about your experience with the phenomena. As we go ahead and move further into the show today, we have memberships available. On this channel, you can become a social soldier today, definitely by clicking the button right below the screen. And what this does is it helps support the show itself, helps us get in a position to make this a better produced show, because I want to make sure that we deliver top quality content, and your support is how we would be able to help do that. The aesthetics, the visuals, and the things that we're going to be able to bring from the outside, the things that I don't know how to do, right? So we're gonna go ahead and keep moving on and say hello to our members, which are Ann Joanne, the Beekeeper, D Nunley, Maggie M10, Deb from Sacramento, Flat Six, Miss Catherine Jones, Cosmic Joe Chronicles, Wes Decker, W Decker, T-Bone, and Still Poo 96. We do appreciate you guys for being members and helping make this thing go round. Also, we have the social shop where you can get swag. You can get my experience with the phenomena hoodies, which are really cool, especially this time of year. We're going into Christmas. $39 right there on the social shop. That is also linked below the video as well. And we have it in black as well. That's the one. If you give me a Christmas present, get me this one and send it over, and we'll totally appreciate it. Has the Social Dig logo on the back. Just a really cool, clean looking hoodie, and we love it. But we're going to be getting into implants and apparitions, right? So I'll tell you a story. I have, most of my life I have not you know, been under the idea that aliens are just here every day, and there's a risk of being abducted, right? So now that I've come around, I've gotten into ufology, I've done a lot of studying, I've talked to a lot of experiencers, I've had my own experiences. Then I've been opened up to a whole new idea and mindset of the things that are even possible within this world that we live in, this universe. When we think we have it figured out, but we really don't. We're not even close, because there's so many amazing things and things that are possible here. There's more possible than impossible at this point. And that's kind of how I feel about it. And, there was a time now that I've looked back, because I have a scar right here on my wrist. It's about an inch long. And, I would always see that scar throughout my life, and I remember it back at an early age. I remember it, I'd say probably 18, 17 is when I remember seeing this, 19, 20, somewhere in there. That's young enough to remember all of your previous life, essentially. And I could not recall where I got the scar. It just always puzzled me. I never thought anything about it. I never connected it to anything extraterrestrial or anything along those lines. I just thought it was weird, and I didn't remember where it came from. But now that I'm into the subject, and I'm like, that ends up being a characteristic of a lot of people who have potentially been in some sort of contact situation, report scars that come out of nowhere. So that's where things started getting creepy for me, and why it's going to be great to do this show today. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and start out with the apparitions. As you know, we go over these, we talk about what implants mean, apparitions, and how they connect to ufology. Then we bring in our experiencers to talk about their experiences. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. So under implants, alien implants, basically, they're foreign objects found in the human body that are believed to have been placed there during extraterrestrial encounters. These implants are often linked to stories of alien abductions and serve as supposed tracking devices, biological probes, or tools for communication. Now, characteristics of alleged implants: unusual materials, often made from unknown alloys or compounds, no entry wounds. Many implants are discovered without scars or signs of insertion. Then anomalous behavior. Some implants emit radio frequencies or are resistant to cutting or removal. And actually, that is an important piece, because we're going to be talking about something. I'm going to show you something in a little bit here that kind of lines up with that as well. Some notable cases. So we have Dr. Roger Lear, who had done research on this. He's a pioneer in the study of alien implants. Over his career, he surgically removed 17 objects from alleged abductees. These objects exhibited unusual properties such as magnetic attraction or emitting electromagnetic frequencies. So Roger Lear was a California-based podiatric surgeon who became one of the most well-known figures in UFO and abduction research. Over his career, Dr. Lear conducted numerous surgical procedures to remove foreign objects, commonly referred to as alien implants, from individuals who claim to have been abducted by extraterrestrials. Discovery and investigation. Lear's work began in earnest in the early 1990s after he encountered individuals who reported experiences of alien abduction and mysterious symptoms in their bodies, such as pain, magnetic anomalies, or unexplained objects detected in X-rays. The characteristics of the alien implants removed by Dr. Lear exhibited peculiar properties. One is unusual composition, which we talked about, some implants containing metals and isotopes not commonly found here on Earth, or exhibited in a composition that suggested advanced technology. Number two, biological compatibility. Most of these objects were surrounded by a biological membrane that prevented the body's immune system from rejecting them, a feature which is highly unusual for foreign objects. Now, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of that too, as well, because that seems to be a theme as well. And then electromagnetic properties, which certain implants emitted electromagnetic frequencies or appeared to be magnetic, raising questions about their function. Lear's findings were often analyzed by independent laboratories. In several cases, materials were found to contain rare isotopes, further fueling speculation about their extraterrestrial origins. Now, also, when we talk about implants, we have to get into Betty Andreessen. So, Betty Andreessen experiences began in 1967 at her home in South Ashburnham, Massachusetts. During the evening, she and her family reportedly witnessed strange beings entering in their home. Betty described these beings as small gray entities with large black eyes, a common description in modern alien abduction cases. The entities allegedly communicated with Betty telepathically and transported her to a craft. Over time, Betty underwent hypnotic regression, during which she revealed more details about her experience. She described examinations performed by beings during which objects were inserted into her body. While Betty did not initially use the term implants, her description of foreign objects placed inside her aligned very closely with modern reports of alien implants. So Betty's encounters were not limited to physical examinations. She also described profound spiritual experiences and visions during her abductions, which set her case apart from many others. Researchers believe Betty's experience may have combined both technological and spiritual elements, suggesting that extraterrestrial beings could be interacting with humans on multiple levels: physical, mental, and even spiritual. Betty Andreessen's story also raises questions about the purpose of implants. Now, if alien implants are indeed real, are they tools for tracking abductees, monitoring human physiology, or even influencing human behavior? Betty's case suggests a deeper connection between extraterrestrial beings and human consciousness, which is a recurring theme within abduction research. So I want to get into a couple things here before we jump into the apparition side of this. So we have there was a part in this where it was talking about these implants developing like a biological casing, so as the body would not be able to detect it or reject it, rather, right? Detect it and then reject it, which is often a big problem when you're introducing foreign objects into the human body. You get a lot of cases of the body rejecting, as you see, like with organ transplants and different things of that nature. Also, there was a part here where they talked about the object kind of evading capture and things of that nature. I want to show you something here. We have recently Lou Elizondo. If you're familiar with Lou Elizondo, he actually did an interview with News Nation where he actually talked about a case where something exactly along these lines happened. I actually have it bookmarked on my X, and I'll go ahead show that to you guys real quick, and then we will continue on. All right, and here we go.
You've actually seen what you believe may well be alien technology, an implant.
I have.
What did you see?
I saw a technical device that had been removed, excised by the Department of Veterans Affairs by a surgeon, a trained physician from a U.S. military service member who claimed to have a UAP encounter. The physician claimed that the object tried to run on him or evade being excised.
So let me get this right. This object, whatever it is, it's a constructed object. It's a technological object.
It's a technological object enveloped in some sort of biological capsule. The current theory is that that capsule is there to fool the body, as not to create some sort of immune response to a foreign object.
The physician you spoke to described that object apparently trying to intelligently avoid being captured by the human doctor.
Correct. That is what the doctor reported.
You've actually seen
That
what
is
you believe
actually
may well
pretty
be alien.
crazy. So we'll go ahead and continue on. But as you saw right there was a case where Lou Elizondo actually saw evidence of a device that was an implant and a biological casing that tried to evade being captured. Okay, so this is a thing, and a lot of people are dealing with this out there, and it's a scary situation, right? It's a scary situation. We're going to go ahead and move on, get into apparitions here as we go ahead and jump right back on into this. So that's Betty Andreessen, Dr. Roger Lear, and then we're going to move into the apparition side of this. So let me jump right on into that. With apparitions, apparitions are visual manifestations or of spirits or entities, often described as translucent or mist-like forms. Unlike shadow people, apparitions are often recognized as ghosts or spiritual entities. Type of apparitions, you have crisis apparitions, appear to loved ones during times of distress or death. I've experienced that myself. You have residual hauntings, which appear as repetitive phenomena like a recording replaying in time. Then you have interactive spirits, which are entities that seem aware of their surroundings and interact with the living. Can't say that I've had that. I mean, I had a shadow person, but we'll continue. You have some stories, some famous apparition stories in the history here, which would be the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. This famous ghost was photographed in 1936 and is believed to be the spirit of Lady Dorothy Walpole. She is often seen descending the staircase of Raynham Hall in England. Then you have the Bell Witch. The 19th century haunting in Tennessee involved a malevolent spirit that terrorized the Bell family. Witnesses reported seeing a dark human-like apparition. Possible explanations would be spiritual. Many believe apparitions are evidence of the afterlife or spirits trying to communicate. And I think we're really still trying to figure that out. Mediums will tell you that these are people right here on the other side of the veil. You also have skeptics, right? The skeptic perception of this is that we're seeing things. They often attribute sightings to optical illusions, hallucinations, environmental factors like electromagnetic fields, mass hysteria, like what's currently going on in the world right now. If you're unaware, it's always a label that people try to put on people who are having actual experiences, which I think is sickening. But though alien implants, which we talked about earlier, and apparitions seem unrelated, they share intriguing similarities. Interaction with the unknown all involve encounters with entities or forces beyond normal understanding. Physical and emotional impact. These phenomena often leave profound psychological or even physical effects on witnesses. And then theories often link these phenomena to alternate dimensions or realities. But I think we'll find out today, as we hear from these experiencers, that this is a reality. This is a reality for a lot of people out here in the world who have come and reported these exact things happening to them. And then the cases are so similar when you lay them next to each other that you have to look at the validity of the things that are being said. So without further delay, we'll go ahead and bring in our guests for the night here, our experiencers, none other than Lala Bright and Science Bob. How are you guys?
Doing great. How about you?
Doing awesome, doing awesome. This has been like something been waiting to do, because we always hear from Science Bob with all the knowledge that he has there, but we never really get to sit down and hear about, yourself as an experiencer. And I think this is going to be pretty awesome to hear that and to kind of get right into it. Lala, we've talked before, and I've definitely got a chance to kind of feel the experiences that you've gone through, but I'd love to hear more. So as it relates, alien implants, apparitions, and even outside of that, what would be some of your experiences that you've had with the phenomena? Either one of you can go first.
You should go first. So, so mine is not the typical story, but it's interesting to me anyway, nevertheless, and hopefully to your audience. So I grew up born in Tennessee, raised in Alabama, in a very conservative part of the Bible Belt in the state, and I had some odd experiences that I really didn't understand. So my first one was I awoke when I was 3 years old, and I don't remember what happened during the night at all. But I got up and went in where my mother and was entertaining her best friend. And I walked over to the bookshelf, grabbed a book and opened it and started reading to them. And I was 3 years old and had never been taught to read. So that kind of went on and then kept progressing and other things happened. And when I was 10, man, oh man, I built a telescope. I built a rocket. I built amateur radio transmitters and receivers and was an amateur radio operator. And I was and memorized Grey's Anatomy from cover to cover. This is within about a 4-month period when I was 10 years old. So all those strange things, and that went on. I kept having these things happen. And so I now know that what I was having was experiencing downloads. So by the time I went off to college, I went off with my girlfriend in my hometown. We went to the same college. I picked her up one Friday to drive us home for the weekend, and we had an hour and a half of missing time on the way. And because of my memorization of Grey's Anatomy, my entire family thought I was going to go be a medical doctor. But after that missing time, I went, nope, I'm going to go change schools, change majors. And I got a degree in applied mathematics with minors in physics and electrical engineering. And so I went from medicine all the way in total geek meltdown. And that was my life until I was in my 50s. And then I had always been interested in UFOs and astronomy and other things. I was just always been into the sky since I built that telescope and built rockets when I was 10 years old. So I heard about stuff going on and being discussed inside government that has now been played out in the media. And I saw some of it before everybody outside saw it. So I started studying, found Richard Dolan, became a member of his membership and forum, and read his books, which are UFOs in the National Security State, Volume 1 and 2. And he interviewed Chris Bledsoe over 4 separate hours. And that was it. Chris lived an hour and a half from me. I called him and asked him, could I come over? He waited a little while, invited me to come over. He and I had experiences together, and those set of experiences kind of opened my mind or something. And I began having them when I went home, including so by the end of that year, I was retiring because of COVID. I knew that my university was going to be closed for over a year. And so I retired. And before I left town, of course, I was at Virginia Tech, I wanted to go to a cardiovascular surgeon to have a checkup because I had had heart attacks. And I wanted to know if I was okay. And so because I knew it was going to take me a while to find a qualified cardiovascular surgeon in Alabama, and I didn't want to have to go to my brother, who's a cardiovascular surgeon. So anyway, I went to him, and he did a bunch of tests and had a look on his face. And I says, well, am I okay? He says, well, let me ask you some questions. What have you been doing? And I says, nothing, just living life, getting ready to retire, taking my medicine, trying to do what you told me to do. And he says, well, look, I just ran this test and I measured your heart function, and it's the heart of a healthy 30-year-old, not a guy that's had 3 heart attacks and a quadruple bypass. I cannot explain it. And so that went, and I just had this miraculous cure, like so many people that went and visited Chris Bledsoe. And then I began seeing stuff in the sky and so forth and so on. My mother got ready to pass. Lala told me she was, because she had seen me on Spaced Out Radio and reached out to friend me on Facebook. And so when my mother passed, I went home and got a reading from Lala. And I knew within a few minutes that she was talking to my mother, since she told me things my mother said to tell me that no one knew but my mother and me. And then at the end of the reading, a little old lady came through that Lala said she couldn't understand because her southern accent was so thick she couldn't understand the words she said. And she said, she keeps jumping up and down excited, trying to get me to say a word. And she says, but I don't know what it means. I said, what is it? She says, well, I might be wrong. I said, just tell me. She says, she keeps saying something that sounds like Tweety. Well, when I was 1, my grandmother would keep me for my parents on occasion because she wanted to spend time with me. And she would call me Sweetie. I couldn't say Sweetie, so I called her Tweety. Wow. And she said, and also, she has a little poodle in her arm. My grandmother raised poodles. She was a professional poodle breeder, and she had a favorite poodle she always carried in her arm called Pierre. And that was just it. Lala and I began exploring everything, and pretty soon what she thought was dreams, I realized were abductions. And she had all of these psychic abilities, which is common amongst abductees. And here we are.
Wow, that is amazing. I've heard some of this story from Lala's point of view, but to hear it from yours is awesome. And so it sounded like missing time originally, being young, was potentially an abduction experience. Once you realize these were abduction experiences, like, do you recall what happened during the abduction?
I've had no regression. I have 0 memories of my abductions, and I haven't had a full regression. I've had a quantum hypnosis healing session with Deb Shakti, but I have not had a regression.
Love Deb Shakti. Yeah, regression is, I guess that's kind of where I'm at too, because I figure, once I have one, then I'm going to end up finding out that I got this scar from some way that I didn't think was even possible at one point. How about you, Lala? What would have been, some of your experiences with the phenomenon, if you're able to outline one? Go ahead, Bob.
Rob, before you do that, we want to acknowledge that the picture you brought up in the beginning of Betty Andreasen and Bob Luca. Bob Luca was our friend. We got pretty close to him, and he passed away last week.
Wow. Okay. Condolences to his family. And wow, that is, yeah, okay. That's pretty heavy.
He was amazing.
He was an amazing, sweet, kind, gentleman, and he was totally devoted to her. Genuinely devoted.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to speak to him, pay him his respects. Hey, let's go ahead and do that.
I contacted his, I guess, fiance, and I'm going to give her a reading soon. She's not ready, and it's too soon anyway. But he's been here. He's visited. He's made it very clear he wants to speak to her.
I think he visited us last night. When the friendly spirit came in.
Oh yeah. I hope. No, he's okay. He's fine. He's very, very strong. He's very happy. He reunited with his wife. But he has love for his wife and his fiance. It's different there. It's just pure love. It's not anything strange like we think of it here. But I believe he passed from cancer, so he's not in pain anymore. So.
And there have been 5 or 6 books written about their and Betty's experiences, and Raymond Fowler wrote 4. in my opinion, having now been studying this for years, hers is the single best documented case of abduction, with government and others all over that story wanting to know details. And people that are inside the hidden program worked really, really hard with her to try to figure out how the craft worked.
I can tell you one thing that he makes very clear to me is that he wants to continue spreading information, and he's very eager to share information now that he knows more. So he's going to continue this path on the other side as well. That'll be part of his path, is sharing with, people like me. It won't just be me, but he wants to get it out there in this realm that we're in, so that we're more aware of what's going on.
And so anybody that wants to read one of the most fantastic stories you can possibly ever read the book by Fowler called The Watchers, which describes them. Betty thought they were messengers of God and attached to whatever you want to view God as. And it really solidified her faith. They were both Catholic. And the entities didn't get in the way of that faith. They encouraged it. They gave her a book that she showed her family and friends for years, and suddenly one day it disappeared. But they had it for a while.
Wow. That is just like, for the things to align like that. Like, I had no clue. And so when I set this up, just happened to bring somebody in that you're able to speak on and actually pay some respects tonight for everyone to hear out there. And so condolences again to the family. If you ever watch this, much respect. And, this important part has been played in this whole story that humanity is going through. And, we're playing our part right now as well. So,
ooh, he's here. Ooh, I'm serious. Wow.
Man, I hope so, because I really, like I said, I never met the man, and I just became aware of him as we did this show. So, that's actually awesome. So that is awesome.
And the government was after him very much.
Nonstop. Even recently.
So it's real. The government's up in it. So.
Man, yeah, wow.
I'm sorry I interrupted, but this was important. Let Lala tell her story, because her story is 1,000 times more interesting than me.
Yeah, we definitely opened up to pay all respects and to say everything you wanted to say in regards to it. So it's totally fine and welcome. Yeah, Lala, you can definitely jump in and pick up on some of your experiences as well, your experiences with the phenomena.
Okay. I've had a mixture of experiences, from spirits to perhaps demons, aliens, shadow people. I don't know what they are, but I never got a good experience from shadow people. And it all started when I was younger, and it kind of all started together. The UFO dreams that happen almost very frequently, almost every night, started when I was 5, and then hearing spirits started when I was 5. So, but even now, I still, and I don't know if this is because of a bloodline or I'm psychic, but I'm under some type of strange psychic attack. I guess that's what you call it. But I've gotten help from June Lundridge. Is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
The Demon Slayer. That's what she
Lundridge, but anyway.
This thing has been around for many years, and I don't know where it started. I know the bad stuff started when I saw a shadow person come out of my bedroom wall. And
tell people what the bad stuff is.
I was like 19 when this happened, and a little tiny bright light appeared on the wall, and then it got narrow and up and down, and this shadow man slid out. He didn't have legs, but it was like torso, front ways, face, like the silhouette face sideways, and he slid into the darker room. And then ever since then, I started feeling like someone sitting on my bed when I'm in it, or having creepy dreams of like snakes trying to attack me. Even I had a boyfriend come over And he didn't believe in any of this, but we both woke up at the same time from a snake nightmare, a snake trying to kill us. And that freaked him out. So he didn't stay over after. But whatever this thing is does not like me to be with in relationships, I guess I should say, even friendships. It doesn't mess
until me. It doesn't mess with me. So I think all the stuff that happened to me before, I have guardians. And so I've been protected, and maybe her guardians wanted me with us, so mine make the two work together and get rid of whatever it is, because she hasn't had a truly bad dream since June. I drove whatever this is off, and now we are doing all of the practices, imagining a shield, everything else you can imagine to keep all this away, and we do that religiously morning and evening.
But also I have an implant in my leg, and I found out, I guess a little over 20 years ago, I found out by accident. I was flying to see a friend quite often in Florida, and at that time you could, when you set off the metal detector, whatever you call it, you could see what they're looking at in detail. Now you can't. But after a while, I'm like, can I just see what you're looking at? Because I don't have anything on me. And they showed me, and it looked like a little piece of rice in my upper
left
outer thigh, and it's still there. We flew last year. It's still there. There's no scar. I didn't have surgery. Like nothing. It should not be there.
She told me, watch this. So I went through, turned back and looked, and sure enough, she set off the detector, and they wanded her, and it was right there on the outside of her leg. She also has one in her head. And can you see that video I shared?
Let me see. I think that's it right here. Let's see. Let me add that.
No, this is unreal. So let me bring this up and go here. So I have a trifield meter because we're into all sorts of weird. And she kept having these headaches, and I just had this feeling. So I took the trifield meter and I rubbed it around on her forehead. And this is me hunting for the implant.
Okay, move it up and down. Up. Left. Right. Oh. Right there. We found it. Okay.
So look, let me explain to you. Human beings, they don't have transmitters buried in their body. And the thing hit a 0.190 milliwatts. And wow, that is a lot of power coming out of a human being. And before everybody wants to second guess, I am an electrical engineer and a radio amateur. I turned off every emitter in the house. I walked around till I found the quietest place in the house for RF. And then I put that thing on her head and it started pinging. So it was like it was sending a digital burst. And she's got that thing right up here in her head.
Wow. What did you think, Lala, when you figured that out?
It makes sense because I have a strange scoop mark on that side that I wasn't born with. It appeared there after a few years. And I get really bad, when I do readings for people, I get really bad headaches.
For where that thing is, they had to have gone up in by her eyeball to put it where they put it in the brain.
They better not. I swear I'm going to smack them. Anyway, in a loving, respectful way. But yeah, no, it makes sense. It does. I don't know why it doesn't show up on anything when I'm flying and I go through all the detectors. It doesn't show up for there, but I don't know. It makes sense. I know my dad, he was very much into paranormal and stuff like that. But when it came to talking about aliens or UFOs, he got nervous. And we were like best friends. You know, my parents and boyfriend, my son's father, they passed a couple years ago, which I think that negative entity had something to do with that. But anyway, me and my dad were best friends. We talked about everything, but he wouldn't talk about that. And then one time, a year before he passed, he says, you know, sometimes when I walk the dog, there's a UFO that follows me around. And he was an honest guy, the kindest person. So I knew he was being honest, and I could tell by how he was acting. He was very nervous talking about it. I don't even know why he told me, honestly, but I guess maybe a couple of days after that, I was helping him at night take out the trash. They retired to Florida, and so I was helping him take out the trash at night, and something made me look up at their house, and all of a sudden, these huge orange orbs appeared one at a time over their roof, like almost touching the roof. These things were massive, okay? And they went into a shape of a V. And I looked at him and I go, Dad, do you see this? And he looks right at him and he goes robotically, no. He turns around, walks back into the house, which is unlike him. He would have never left me, okay? And I look back up at them, and one by one, they disappear. And then I don't remember finishing the trash. I don't remember going to the house. We never talked about it, which was weird anyway. So that was really odd. I don't know what they were, but the other time that I saw something close up that was amazing, that I do remember more detail of, is that I was driving. I was having coffee with my friend at night, and we were sitting in the car, and we started seeing red orbs shoot past us. And we didn't know what they were, but we got nervous, so we decided, I was like, well, let me just drive you home. And it wasn't a big road, we weren't going fast, and all of a sudden this huge cloud was over the road. It was close, it wasn't far up, and this black helicopter shined its spotlight in the cloud, and that's the only reason I saw this thing. It was black metal. It was massive, massive, and there weren't any lights, but because of the spotlight, I saw the detail, and it looked like a bunch of pipes intertwined with each other along the whole bottom of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the pipes were as wide as the body of the helicopter. So that's how big this thing was. And when I drove under it, I didn't see any sky. That's how big it was. I just saw underneath of it. And then I don't remember taking her home. She don't even remember any of this. So this is all missing time. That's one I really wish I could remember, because I mean, it was so close,
My count right now is, given her remembrance of missing time events, the last few years, she during her relationship with her boyfriend, in which they had a son, she had missing time multiple times a month. She's had over 100 missing time events.
Wow.
Since she was a child.
And Grant, what's your friend's name?
Cam.
Sorry. I woke up with a triangle bruise, and I mean, he talked about it at a conference. I woke up with, it looked like bite marks on my chest, but it was a bruise. Just weird stuff I wake up with.
Give me a second and I'll bring it up. Keep talking.
Be there,
Yeah, I've talked to someone else who had something like that too. Just little bumps that made formations that created shapes and things like that. Right. Constellations, and I'm like, wow, this is wow. What do you think is the purpose behind implants, if you had to guess? Actually, I'll show this real quick since you have the sub signs, Bob. Let's see. Okay, it's up. If you want to talk to that, Lala.
That's the triangle one, and it's got weird dots in it, which is unusual. What did you say it was?
It's so the first day it was darker than this, and this thing nearly healed in a day. So we took this picture.
3 days.
But it was gone in 3 days. But anyway, it looks like a pneumatic injector was put on her arm, and she was given some kind of injection, and they work through forced air.
But also, I don't really bruise on my upper body. My lower body, I bruise easy. Upper body, I don't bruise at all. But if I do bruise, I keep that thing for months. And this went, and whenever they do a bruise on me, it goes in 2 to 3 days. It's so strange.
Yeah, I'd be like, what's up with the dots? Are those follicle where the follicles come out, or those pores, or what, or those?
Yeah, well, pores or follicles, whatever. Yes, those are pores that are all that have follicles in them.
And then another bruise that was strange. It looked like it was two of them identical next to each other, and it looked like maybe a flower, like a cartoon flower. Like, see, I don't know if you see a little cartoon flower, but it had a dot in the center of each one. That was weird. That stayed 3 days too. So just weird stuff. I don't know what these symbols mean.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if mines will show up on camera. Let me see if mine. I always try to show mines real quick since I'm up here. I don't know if
can you show us picture?
you can see right here. Wait, right here.
Yeah, we can see them. We can see a little darker patch.
Yep.
Okay, there's a scar there, and I've had it my whole life, and I'm like, I don't know where this is from, and I always try to figure out, you know, especially since I'm now within this field, you know, you get marks sometimes. You wake up with marks, you don't know where they came from, just like we just looked at here. And so I'm just trying, and I think that's where the regression comes in. I think that's why you have to get a regression, so you can kind of get those answers. But what do you think, Lala? If you had to guess, what is your thought process on why these things happen, or why they're doing these things to people?
Well, for one, I think the implants are to keep track of us, and the bruises, I guess, I think they a lot of them test on us. Some of them care. I feel some of them care about us. I feel some of us are part of them somehow, maybe hybrids. We have, DNA that's in us, that's part of them. But for the most part, I think we're kind of like guinea pigs, I hate to say it, but.
Have you ever heard of the story where there was the cattle mutilation, and the guy was out there and he had a metal detector that he kind of waved over the carcass, and it picked up a metallic thing inside of the animal, and then I guess he came back the next day and it had moved. It wasn't there anymore. Like the thing was moving around inside, and they were thinking that it was like some sort of probe or implant from the extraterrestrials draining the cow, whatever they do to the cow, and that maybe this little device is what kind of does all the cutting and all the work, the removal of the contents, once it's in there.
Wow.
I don't know, you know what I mean? But I thought that was pretty wild, because he had the metal detector and it was going off. Same way you were doing with Lala there, had the metal detector and it picked up metallic things inside of animals. Like, you have to ask yourself, like, what is the intent and purpose? Because why do it? I'm not really on the hybridization bandwagon so much, but a lot of people feel like that's why they're doing this. I don't know. What is your perspective, Science Bob? Why do you think they're doing this?
So the parts of the body they're taking are extremely dense in tiny blood vessels. So they exsanguinate the critter and then take all these parts out, which include sex organs and part of their digestive tract, and then their lips and mouth, which are full of nerve endings and capillaries. So I think they could be testing us for contamination or whatever. But look, I'm just guessing.
Yeah, definitely. So contamination, that makes me think. So that could be good or bad. They could be checking for contamination because they are hopeful that we keep surviving, or they could be checking for contamination because they eat human beings and they don't want to get sick or infected. Yeah, it could go both ways. So
if they're making hybrids and they intend to do something with the hybrids, they will be susceptible to the same kind of things we will be.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. So let me ask you this: what is your perspective on how this all relates to the overall phenomena? Like, do you feel like this serves a purpose, like it under the entire umbrella of the phenomena? Do you think it's all related, and kind of where does this take place? Where does this serve its purpose within the whole scope of this?
I got to tell you what, I don't think there's only one piece to the phenomenon. I think it's many different things. The only common thread that runs through it seems to be consciousness in some way. That's my view of it. But I mean, we have the hybrids and the visitors and psychic abilities, telekinesis, and we're not awake enough yet to be able to command it and do it all. I mean, so, you know, we've had a couple of visits. We don't know what they're doing. It's just all so strange. Well, between multiple craft appearing in our skies, to visits from entities, to her ability to do psychic readings, my weird being given downloads my whole life for whatever reason. It's just so odd. It's just completely outside of anything that anybody would have taken seriously 100 years ago. Now, maybe 1,000 years ago, the Native Americans and other people took it very seriously. But when the industrial age came and the age of reason came and science took over, we stopped thinking about any of this.
Wow. Okay. How about you, Lala? What is your perspective on that, on the entire phenomenon, kind of where this all fits in?
For me, I have mixed feelings. There's a part of me that feels that they created this whole realm to kind of mix a soul with a flesh body to see how it goes. I mean, why else would they help us? I mean, there's cave drawings of them and the stories of them helping us learn with fire and all this other stuff. Why would they take the time to do that? If you know what I mean? What we're gonna say?
No, I was going to say, why is the same drawings on pyramids all over the world through societies that never once met each other?
Right. Maybe something happened here and they could no longer stay here safely, so they wanted to make a new breed of beings that could stay here. Because our friend John Carpenter actually said that he worked for Bigelow for a while, and he said he worked with psychic children, and a lot of times when they were abducted, that the aliens, or whatever you want to call them, would help these kids become more psychic. They would teach them things to bring back. So when they woke up, they had a whole different scope of psychic powers. This was a common occurrence with these children that John worked with.
So what do you think? And you know, as this show is going on, there's some other things happening in the world where there are these weird things in the sky that people are trying to figure out. They're calling them drones currently. You know, imagine that all these things are just extraterrestrials that we're looking at in the skies currently in this moment. Now, do you see how does your perspective on abductions, does it change knowing that there potentially is a fleet of these things that are showing up in the skies right now? Because if they are taking us like a lot of people feel, then they're coming in numbers at this point. And what's to say that this doesn't turn into some sort of engagement between human beings and these things? You know, maybe mass abductions, or a situation where something like that could play out. Because usually when you say abduction, you think of one craft coming to a particular person, abducting them, doing whatever they do, leaving them, and then going to do something else. Whereas you have all these craft in the sky at one time, and assume the purpose is to examine or take a bunch of people. How do you feel? How does that make you feel? Does that change anything, or what is your outlook on that?
I personally feel this. Look, you know, they've been here a long time, but I think whatever this is different. I think they're a different type of species that are visiting, because I've been feeling it for a while now that
She-
something was coming.
She's been predicting and feeling for over a year.
Wow.
And I think more is coming. I think bigger things are coming. I keep having this dream that it looks like a planet, but it's not, comes past Earth. It doesn't hit into it, but it's so close that there's tidal waves and streets break. And, that scares the crap out of me because now there's lots of strange things going on like that. But also, with the last question, I just want to say, I believe there's different dimensions, different realms. So what we're talking about right now, I feel that's just for this realm. I think there's a lot of other weird stuff going on in different dimensions. I think so. I don't think what we are cuts over into other dimensions. I think we're just right here, and they're coming to visit us and test on us. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. What is your outlook on that, Science Bob? All these things coming, they abduct us. We know that they experiment. All these numbers. Do you feel any fear there, or what do you think their purpose is? If just assuming, not saying these are all extraterrestrials, but if they are, like, what is your outlook on that?
So if I'm going to assume that all the stuff we're seeing in the skies everywhere is non-human intelligence, then they've been screwing with us and prepping us for centuries, and the culmination of what they're doing is here. So they're sending up stuff warning us, okay, it's about time, and then they will appear.
Yeah, it's strange because the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy who supposedly was doing the predictions of December 3rd, the date that was coming up, right? And he had stated there was going to be some war between human beings and extraterrestrials. Now, technically, this isn't that, but it is sort of scary, though, that he was even sort of kind of right in this moment. The other thing is like Lala's what she's seen, the thing she's seen, that sounds really scary and crazy. And then the other part is that someone that I know within these last few months said to me, actually it was in October, said to me that they had a vision, and that in their vision they saw Donald Trump winning the election. And this was in a moment where it didn't look possible. It didn't even seem that it would be possible for that to happen. And so I couldn't understand where that vision was coming from. And so, but it puzzled me because this person has been right before. And sure enough, this person was absolutely right. This person in that same moment also told me that they had a secondary vision that this would be the last election, period. And I had to probe that person because, there's obviously reasons why we would assume that could be the case politically off of things that have been said, but that could go so many different ways, meaning that either we're going to get disclosure before this next term is up, which may shift the way people believe in this political system, and that might be the reason why. Or it could be something like what Lala says, the things that she sees in her vision, because that would also be something that could signify maybe this being the last election. So it's to hear that vision from you, Lala, and then to also have heard this other vision from someone who has been absolutely right. It's kind of scary. And then these things, if they are ET or alien, they are here in numbers in this moment that you're having this vision, this other person is having this vision, and it's like the stars are aligning for something that I don't know. It could be something very scary, or it could be that this thing is happening because it's a moment where they're trying to stop us or help us from having the vision that you had, or having a bad outcome. And that I had to say that because you saying that about your vision kind of added that final piece for me to say, wow, well, this is a crazy moment that we're in, and who knows where we're going to go from here. How do you guys have any last words you want to leave the audience with, or make a comment on that?
Just do me a favor and bring up that picture I've got hidden down there.
Yes.
Okay, so how'd you like to wake up or go outside, sit in their background, look at your neighbor's house, and that face show up in front of you? And that's not the only thing. So just tell you that something's here, it's visiting. We see all sorts of weird stuff. And I am not particularly afraid. I don't think Lala's particularly afraid, except we feel something is coming that we don't understand. And so I'm a little apprehensive, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lala.
I feel that something, I don't know if something's going on now that they're allowed to show up more for us. I'm just saying that because the veil is lifting. People say that. I mean, when I'm online, if I go on TikTok, I swear to God, almost every single video, and that could be about makeup. There are orbs in the background. There are shadow people in the background. I mean, and it's not just me thinking, oh, it might be. It's literally there. These things are all over the place, and it's more than usual. So something's shifting. So, maybe it's a timeline where they can just maybe come help us. Maybe they're here to help us because something is going to happen with flooding and all this other stuff. But who knows? I don't know. Maybe a lot of people think every so often when humans learn too much, we're kind of
Reset.
reset. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know.
Yeah. It's hopefully, if this is what it feels like it is, hopefully they're here to help. It's just, and the thing is that there's a fine line because, and when we talk about these experiences are real. This moment that we're in the experience, and technically, this is an experience that we're all having together, and there's a fine line between just being real and looking at reality, and then the other side being, what some would call fear mongering, and you kind of ride that line, but you want to be real as possible, just because the visions that you have, I wouldn't discount at all. And especially seeing a person that I saw get everything right, and it's just crazy. So I'm holding that streets breaking and things like that, and looking at that is hopefully that's not where we're going, but hopefully they're here to stop us from getting there if that's what this is all about. So yeah.
I just say one last thing really quick. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. Please.
The most important thing out of everything, in my opinion, no matter what happens, is your thoughts. Whatever you think, make it positive. Whatever you speak, try to make it positive, because that creates the world around you. I promise you, if something crappy is going to happen, this will alter your personal reality so that things are better for you. I'm telling you from experience, the universe or whatever listens to us. So if you think and speak negative, it's going to come. If you think and speak positive, it's going to help you. So
yeah, and these words that we sit here and we have this conversation, and it's an innocent thing, within our community. We're just talking our experiences, but in this moment, because we're all experiencing together, we have people that have never delved into this topic, or don't know about enlightenment, or don't know what the general purpose of this is, and they're scared, and we have to try to figure out a way to change that energy. So it's great that you give those words, because they are currently on the internet looking for content to help them figure this out. And I knew this day would come. I knew that there would be a moment where, and maybe that's another I had a vision, I guess, because I knew there would be a moment where, the people who didn't know anything about this subject would dive right into YouTube and the internet and try to find all the answers they can, consuming. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. So it's actually good. Hopefully none of the bad things, like you said, keep good energy and keep positive thoughts, and things should turn out that way. But at the very least, I think it's a great moment, because a lot of people who were uneducated are educating themselves right now, and they're kind of connecting, they're kind of taking that first step towards where we all have to be as far as gaining the knowledge and being enlightened and being on the same page. So we're all playing a part in that, and it's awesome to be able to do that. With that being said, I do appreciate you guys coming in and talking about your experience with the phenomena. We have so much more to do here. I have a news show that I just started here on this channel too. So I would love to kind of have you guys just come in and chime in on the things that are going on in the world at any given moment. If you wouldn't mind. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Science Bob and Lala Bright, thank you so much. You guys have a great rest of your night. We'll go ahead and get this thing wrapped up. You guys take care.
See ya. Thank you.
Later. All right, guys, that is my experience with the phenomena. Science Bob and Lala Bright, our experiences for the night. It has been an awesome time, and it always is when we're able to sit back and talk about the phenomena and kind of get through this. And like I just ended with here, we're in a moment where, you know, a lot of people out there are kind of coming into this subject and finding themselves in a moment where they're trying to just it's like a mass education. And I think that's a good reason, you know, it's why we do this, right? Because if you go back in the catalog here, I think a lot of the shows, and I know a lot of you, like Maggie M10 has been one to know this, Magneticus been here for a long time to know that there are a lot of different shows that we've done here as far as topics go, that if someone needed a crash course on what was going on, it'd be a good place to kind of come by and kind of get your knowledge up on, you know, and come up to speed with the whole thought process and a lot of questions that a lot of these people may have. They may find that we've talked about those questions and theorized and going down those roads right here on this channel. So I'm so glad that, you know, to be able to play a part in this, guys. And I'm glad that you guys came on out and supported. We want to thank Lala Bright. We want to thank Science Bob. We want to thank Magneticus Attractus for gifting the sub. We also want to thank Monica for the super sticker. And then always awesome. And West, we got to get together. I got the new news show, and it would be awesome to have you like come on, be a guest, frequent guest on that. So I'm gonna talk to you soon about that. And yeah, just appreciate everybody coming on in. Another moment where we moved the needle with the conversation. I think we did that. I feel good about it. We will be right back here tomorrow, right after the Spaced Out Radio After Hours radio show, where we will be diving more into drone conversation. And you know, it's gonna be a great time. We're gonna have a great panel there as well. We're gonna do another panel, brand new guests though, brand new participants in the panel, and we're gonna talk some more about this. So I'll see you guys there, and then see you guys right back here on the call-in show, where we can kind of decompress, debrief, and kind of let you guys come up and say anything that you might want to say. You guys have a great rest of your night, evening. Check out Dave tonight, Spaced Out Radio. And outside of that, have a great rest of your night. You guys all take care. Actually, no, not going to go yet. Not going yet, because I have to say a couple things. I want to say, I want to do this because if there are new people here, I want to make sure that they know that we have other shows, right? Other shows. So you're right here at My Experience with Phenomenon, which we do on Fridays, 5 p.m. Pacific. Wednesdays, we normally do the Social Dig show, which is also at 5 p.m. Pacific. This past Wednesday, or actually yesterday, we did a new show, which is the definitive UFO news show, which will be in the rotation here. Also, the show we're talking about tomorrow night will be the late night call-in show, Saturday, 11:30 p.m. So make sure that you don't miss any of those. Also, memberships are available here, which you saw Magneticus gifted one tonight, which is awesome. Appreciate you, Magneticus. And then the list goes on. We will be adding to this list as long as people sign up. And just know that you're doing things to help make this show a better show. I want to be able to produce this. I produce this whole thing by myself. I would love to hire people to kind of do some things so, this could be the best presentation possible. And Joanne, the Beekeeper, D. Nunley, Maggie M10, Deb from Sack, Flat 6, Miss Catherine Jones, Cosmic Joe Chronicles, Wes Decker, T-Bone, Still Pooh 96, and then whoever Magneticus gifted the sub to. Thank you all for being members. We do appreciate you guys making this a better place. The social shop is up. You can go ahead and get swag, hoodies, all sorts of gear there. Make sure you guys go check that out as well. And the call-in number. Program this into your phone. Why not? 856-843-3444, or this 856-THE-DIGG if you're outside the U.S., 001-856-843-3444, or 001-856-THE-DIGG. If you want to come on this show, my experience with Phenomena, talk about your experience, it's booksocialshow@gmail.com. Go ahead and mark that down. Now, the reason why we do this, for the positive progression of humanity. Let me bring that up on the screen because it's so very important. This is why we do this. We do this for the positive progression of humanity. See that sea of people out there? That's everyone. That's you. That's you, and you, and everyone else around the world. That's the people in New Jersey who are trying to come in and figure out what's going on. It's the people on the other side of the world. This is all of us. And we do this show and all the shows we do here to progress the movement for humanity on a positive path. And we will continue to do that right here on the Social Dig, guys. So I just wanted to make sure that we said that. And now we can go ahead and close the show. You guys have a great rest of your night. Take care. See you next time.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all their shoulders, like moving boulders just to get out of the home. It sucks, I've had enough, I don't wanna feel the stuck under the rug, all my problems that I shove.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.